Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Noisy Neighbours podcast. In tonight's episode, we are reacting to the breaking news that Manchester United have offered €85 million for Benjamin Sesko from RB Leipzig. We're getting into the deal, we're reacting to it. Is it a good deal? Is it a bad deal? It's coming up in a minute. Let's get it.
Right, Alex. Manchester United, €85 million bid for Benjamin Sesko. I mean, it's weird because it's the exact same fee we saw a certain club paying for a Rasmus Hojlund. Just hit me with your thoughts straight up, bro.
Yeah. I mean that is just ironic, isn't it? I mean, you almost get a little bit of PTSD from that Ornstein tweet from 2 years ago, which I looked at today, which is identical to his tweet today. Yeah. €75 million plus 10 mil add-ons, which equals €85 million, which is about £74 million all in if the add-ons get paid. I pray to God the add-ons haven't been paid for Hojlund. I mean, how low were they?
Yeah.
Look, right, this is my take on this, and I don't want to. I think we'll get to Sesko as a player in a minute. I want to talk about the principle of this deal and this offer by Man United. Why I think it's stupid. To be honest, I'm probably doing it a disservice. I think it's one of the most stupid things we've done post-Fergie. And bear in mind, we've paid $90 million for Anthony. This is up there. And it's more based around principle than actually the guy as a player, although we'll come to him as a player. Now, 2 years ago, we were on the back end of a Cavani, Ronaldo, Martial era, where they were all gone or going. And we needed a number 9. Now, Harry Kane was quote-unquote available, but he wasn't really available to anybody in the Prem. You know that. Daniel Levy was never going to sell to a Prem club, especially when Bayern Munich were offering 100 million or whatever they got in the end. So United could never get Kane. Now, United then changed their attention to Rasmus Hojlund. Now, here's why I don't like the signing of Sesko, assuming it happens. Because 2 years ago, Manchester United bought Rasmus Hojlund for €85 million off the back of a 9-goal season for Atalanta in Serie A. Serie A is a weaker league than the Premiership. Now, you're paying that much money for a guy to come from Serie A to the Prem. You're praying he improves. Hojlund was young, in fairness, but you are on a prayer. As expected, Hojlund has not improved. He did score 10 goals in his first season. He then regressed to 4, and he was abysmal last season in all aspects of his game. Fell apart completely. The touch, the hold-up play was atrocious. And the goal scoring, he scored similar goals to defenders in the league. To then go and do this again 2 years later. So 2 years later now, we've got to replace Hojlund because he's now not the number 9. I agree he's not the number 9 for Man United. So you're 2 years on from that signing. You go and do the same thing again with Benjamin Sesko. Think about it. €85 million, check. Weaker league, Bundesliga, check. Not great stats in said league, check. Yeah. What are we doing as a club? How can we sanction this deal knowing we've still got the Hojlund hangover? We've not sold him. We probably can't sell him. Maybe Leipzig might take him in some sort of double deal here. I don't know. That's some sort of Twitter rumour, which we can come to. But what are we going to be in 2 years' time? Are we going to have to do another 70 mil? When is this club just obsessed with trying to find diamonds in the rough? Because we don't pay diamond in the rough money. We pay finished article money for diamonds in the rough. And when I say diamonds, they're more like rocks or pebbles because they're not very good. I don't know whether Sesko's going to be good. I don't know whether Sesko's going to be bad. But you better bet he's good because this is 150 million. I tell you what, let's chuck Xerxes in. Xerxes was from Bologna, another Serie A club, another load of rubbish average stats, another 40 mil. So Hojlund, Xerxes and Sesko, what we nearing now? Must be nearing 200 million. 200 million in 3 years on 3 strikers. And you're telling me that we are really on a prayer now. Because you're saying Alexander Isak's worth 150. So we've cracked that. Over Hojlund, Xerxes and Sesko, we're going to go way past the 150 that Liverpool might pay Newcastle for Alexander Isak. This better be good, mate. What do you think? I mean, obviously you've heard my take. I think you knew which way I was going to go with this
Yeah.
because obviously I've been very frustrated with the transfer strategy of this club for so long now, going and trying to buy these talents and nurture them into whatever we think they're going to become for high money. What is your take? Is it any different to mine?
No, Alex, I hear you, and I completely agree as well. And I think, anyone that's listened to the pods or the X before wouldn't be surprised at your take or my take on this, because the definition of insanity, we all know it. You know what I mean? And United just keep repeating the same mistakes and expecting different results. They're not going to be different results. It is eerily similar to Rasmus Hojlund. But not only that, Alex, there's a few other concerns I've got about this, and I wanted to get your take on it. For instance, Manchester United have always gone down the route of players. You think of the number nines that have done well within your teams and your great teams of the past. Your number nines have always been able to play. Even in recent years, Cavani could play. Martial could play. Then you've had Rooney, Van Persie, Tevez, Berbatov.
Yeah.
I'll tell you which one didn't work though, Alex. Lukaku. And I'm like, are United really researching this guy? Are they just going after him because Arsenal were like, or should we go Sesko? Shall we go Gyökeres? They went Gyökeres, and Newcastle are in for him. Are United just putting their name in the hat? I don't have much faith United have done too much due diligence here, and this is their guy, and they always knew this was their guy. I think United are looking at an opportunity. By the way, I think Sesko will prefer the move to Man United, right or wrong, over Newcastle. I do think he'll want it. I just have real big worries on, are United picking players to fit in this system? Because for me, I look at this, bro, and I think you've got Ollie Watkins, who I think is quite attainable at Villa. I think they would do business with United, and I think Ollie Watkins would probably jump at the chance of coming. So, and I think he fits more seamlessly. Pacey attacker, quite dynamic. He can play a little bit. He can drop a little bit deeper. I think he molds well with Mbeumo and Cunha. Of course, Ahmad as well. Now, you're going down the route of a target man. This guy is, 6'5"? Yes, he's quick. His build-up play is really not great. I just feel I'm a bit bewildered in United's business, and to do it so soon after being stung is crazy. Like I said to you, mate, a few weeks ago, if you go and buy a car from a car garage and it was shit, you don't go back and get another one. And that's where I'm leading with this. And I just think, look, United have the opportunity, and I praised Amorim. I did. I said, I think it's a relief for you guys that you're actually going Prem proven, and I think it's a really, real good sign, and it's that more Amorim wants to reduce the risk factor as much as possible. Yeah. And then this one's just come out of nowhere. But Alex, you made a point to me off cam, and you were saying about Amorim. Who do you think this signing stems from? I believe you think it's someone else and not an Amorim signing.
Yeah, no. So word has it that Amorim does prefer Watkins. Now, obviously, this is coming from decent sort of Twitter.
Yeah.
It's not complete rumours. We've got a guy called Christopher Vivell, and he is scout for Man United, and apparently he's really driving this deal. And I've heard stuff on The Athletic that United really look at data. My biggest concern is the main data that I think United look at is age, and we're doing it again, and they can't help themselves. You're right. You go and spend, you go and buy Cunha, you go and buy Mbeumo, both Prem proven, both had great seasons, scored a combined 36 goals between them, and then they almost can't help themselves. It's like, I agree. I think Watkins is fine, right? But I also think it's fine to not do Watkins if you put off that he's 29. I think both is acceptable because really, he probably don't fit the timeline. If you think United are trying to be really good in 2 years, you're probably going to have to replace Watkins if you get the rest right.
Yeah.
You might not. Look, Watkins could be great till he's 34. Who knows? I'm just saying, once you pass 30, you're dicing a little bit with how your players are going to regress slightly. So Cunha 27 in 2 years' time, and Mbeumo will be 27 in 2 years' time. If United go, Watkins doesn't fit the timeline, I accept that. What United should do right now... Go on, sorry, yeah.
I was just going to ask you a question on that. I was just going to say, I hear what you're saying on the timeline, and obviously his age would be a little bit of a concern, but do you not feel where Man United are at currently, that they've got to be a bit of an acceptance? Instead of playing Russian roulette, you've got to accept a bit of a slow rebuild. I say he is only good for 2 years, but would that not be beneficial if that 2 years, he gets you back into competing at a European level? Do you know what I mean? That 2 years could be massive to bridge that gap, whereas you just rolling the dice and going 70 million on a guy that might be good, but he might be terrible. I just feel like doesn't help the club.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, look, if you're going to do something, you go and do Watkins. The two options for me is Watkins or nothing. You stand pat.
Yeah.
Now, Liverpool have just shown you what standing your ground can do in a 2-year window. So people now are, falling off the chairs at this mega summer Liverpool are having, might be about to get even more insane with Isaac in a couple of weeks' time. Liverpool didn't spend a penny last year. They stood their ground. Now, I wasn't in Liverpool's boardroom. I assume they were looking at the market and they did not think anybody was of value last summer. So they didn't do anything. They told Armour Slot to that's what you've got. Improve it. You might win something. Guess what? They did win something. And now they come round a year in advance. You've got more money and you've got value in the market because now an Isak's available, a Wirtz is available. What United are doing again, you're hamstringing yourself because what if in a year's time, another striker, even if it's in Europe, but say it's in Europe and he gets 27 goals, you can at least go, right, okay, well, this guy clearly has at least gone and blitzed the Bundesliga or Serie A. What United are doing is you're handicapping yourself here when really you could just do nothing. You've got Cunha and Mbeumo. I believe there's enough there to improve the squad. Christian, we ain't challenging for the league with or without Benjamin Sesko. So I don't really know why we're rushing into this. People are going to go, well, we'll lose him to Newcastle. Well, is that such a bad thing? Let me tell you something. Man United didn't used to nurture players. We were never the development team. We used to go and get them when they were developed. We used to take punts. Fergie loved a punt. But look at all the punts that Fergie did, most of them. I'll go and get Rooney, Prem proven at the time, although he was the same age, and I'll get Ronaldo, who was very raw player from Portugal, a weaker league for a lot less money than Rooney at the time. I'll go and get Van Nistelrooy, who's banging in over a goal a game for PSV, and I'll get a Forlan. What we're doing is, we're going, forget Van Nistelrooy, we'll just go and get Forlan and pay more money than the proven guys are going for. So it's like, Christian, let me give you an example. Just in this last 2 weeks, we've had loads of people in the comments say they don't rate Victor Gyökeres, whatever. Victor Gyökeres is going to go for less than Sesko and Ekitike. But Victor Gyökeres has scored 3-4 times the amount of goals as Ekitike and Benjamin Sesko. So what are people doing? Is that 4 years of age? Is that what's adding money to these deals? Because I don't get it. If Gyökeres is a flop, fine, but he still scored 50 goals. You can't take that away from him. If Sesko scores 10, everybody in the world can look at Man United and laugh because you went and got a guy who got 13 in the Bundesliga. Let me just hit you with some stats in the Bundesliga, Christian. This is not going back that far, by the way. This is a league that Jadon Sancho scored 17 league goals in. This is a league that Timo Werner scored 28 league goals in. By the way, for RB Leipzig in the same league.
Yeah.
Are you going to go, oh, well, they're wingers, they're forwards. Maybe they get more chances on the counter-attack. Well, let's have a look at this season then. Benjamin Sesko was the 9th top scorer in the Bundesliga this season. And you go, well, maybe there was 8 good strikers in there. I guarantee I'll read you these 8. You tell me how many you recognise. Harry Kane, I know you know who he is. Guirassy, I assume you know who he is. Dortmund. Patrick Schick. Jonathan Burkhardt. Tim Kleindienst, Omar Marmoush, Shah Marmoush 6th, Ekitike 7th, Demirovic 8th, Benjamin Sesko 9. I genuinely don't know.
They're not household names, are they? Most of them on that list.
I'm not ashamed to say this, Christian. I can't tell you who Burkhardt, Kleindienst, and Demirovic play for. I don't know the club.
No.
They outscored Benjamin Sesko last year. And RB Leipzig look a decent side. So what are we doing?
Well, this is another thing I wanted to bring to you, Alex, because I think there was something important. Obviously, I was doing my research on Sesko. Will admit I didn't watch a lot of the guy last year, as I'm sure most people probably didn't. He has massively come to the forefront because of clubs chasing him. Arsenal first, now Newcastle United. I was looking at a few things, and one thing that alarmed me, there is a few good things. He did overperform his XG last year. none of this screams to me, Alex. I would go and break the bank on this guy, and potentially, like you said, I think you made a great point, hamstring yourselves in future. Who knows what's going to happen next year? Does Julian Alvarez kick off and say, no, don't want to be at Atletico Madrid anymore, can't see it going anywhere? Suddenly he's available. United are going, we can't afford him because we've still not shifted Hojlund and we've got Hojlund Part 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is where it's like everyone... I've been seeing some of the reaction from United fans online, and look, I know we're all conned into it a little bit. We all like a shiny new toy, don't we? But sometimes you've got to think long term and how much this could potentially impact the club. We've seen what Hojlund has done to them. They spent a load of money. They're probably still paying for him. Well, they definitely will still be paying for him. Then you're facing the prospect that this could be happening again. And then next season, it's like, we can't go again. You might not even be able to do another 70 million, 80 million punt. This might be the last one. This might be the last roll of the dice. And you might have to stick with them too. And this is the problem where you've got to be careful, these fans that are going, yeah, get him in. Really delve into what this guy is. Does he fit tactically into what Manchester United have always been? You've always loved a number 9 that can play. Yeah. This guy is not a number 9 that can play. He is the ultimate target man. He is fast. He is powerful. But touch isn't great. His finishing is a bit off sometimes. I'm a bit lost with it. It's confused me, and I really didn't think United would go for this guy, especially at the fee that's being put in the bracket.
You make some great points, and you're right. You're touching on the number 9 situation of Man United, and we were based around forwards who could do a lot more than what we have been subjected to. And in fairness to Lukaku, he did actually get some goals. Reasonably good goal scoring record for Man United. Obviously, Hojlund has he's got 14 league goals in 2 years. It's piss poor. And I'm looking at this guy, and what I want to say to United fans is, if you can look me in the eye and say you think Benjamin Sesko is going to come to the Prem and score more than 13 goals, well, you need to. If you think this is going to be a good signing, you have to believe that. If you believe that, tell me why you believe that. Because I'm not saying it's impossible, Christian, like that. Things can, players can come and do well. Like, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm looking at the odds, and I'm also looking at Man United. It is a bit of a graveyard even for good players. So if you're bringing average players, look at Hojlund. Like, yes, I'm not a massive fan of Hojlund. However, he's not as bad as last season. That was a lot worse than his first season, whether you think it's good or not. I just want to talk about, you mentioned on the basis around, well, go and get him now, people that you've seen online today. Yeah. We've got Newcastle want him, so we've got to go and get him. See, Harry Kane was different because Harry Kane was never coming to Man United. So it had to be Hojlund or somebody else, right? Obviously, it was Hojlund. It was a bad signing. This time, Watkins is available. You're choosing not to do that. That's fine. I explained 5 minutes ago why I agree with that take. However, what's the rush, right? Look at the situation with Newcastle. If any Newcastle fans are watching this, they're probably going to be pissed off with what I'm about to say, so I apologise in advance. But Man United are a bigger club than Newcastle. They always will be, unless something seriously continues to go wrong at Man United and Newcastle grow and grow and grow. But globally, it's going to take beyond our lifetimes, probably. So here's my point behind, let him go to Newcastle and see how he does. And if he's good, if Sesko is a Premier League starting number 9, approach Newcastle in 2 years and try and sign him then. We should be better in 2 years. And if we're not better in 2 years, then what's the point signing him at all? Do you know what I'm saying?
You make a great point. You make a really good point.
The Liverpool example. Look at Liverpool. Liverpool didn't go and take any risk signing Alexander Isak from Sociedad. They were like, Newcastle can go and spend 60 million on him. Hope he's good. He is good. He's very good. And now look at Liverpool. Yeah, we might have some of that actually. And then United fans are going to go, well, they're spending 150 million. It's ridiculous. Well, guess what? We've spent 150 million in the last 2 years on 2 strikers. One of them is rubbish. One of them might be rubbish. So don't be coming at me going, oh, we've got to get him ahead of Newcastle. How about let Newcastle trial him? Christian, Man United should be able to go to Newcastle in the future and take a player off them. I know we fell off. We need to get back to being that club. It was never a doubt. When Wayne Rooney's available, mate, it's Man United who are going to take him. What we have actually brought ourselves down below these clubs. like single-handedly with our business of what we've been doing, shopping in shit leagues for potential players that might improve and might not. We've done this to ourselves. However, Cunha and Mbeumo, I'm like, right, okay, brilliant. I'm actually happy with that.
Right direction, yeah.
They just couldn't help themselves, could they?
It was almost like you'd got to. Yeah, it was almost like you'd got to the end of the window and you hadn't done anything mental, and now they're going to go and do it. And I really am a bit bewildered with the timing as well. It just seems so strange. I don't believe this guy has been scouted as the best possible number 9 for Man United. I really don't. I think this is an opportunistic situation which they are jumping on for the sake of it. I don't think they're putting much thought into this at all. I don't feel like he will be a success at Man United. I don't feel like he will be great for the way you play or the way you're trying to play. He is the ultimate target man. Why would a club... I mean, I even question Newcastle. Why are Newcastle looking at it and going, thinking, we want him to be our number 9 He's at replacement? Well, he isn't.
No.
And then on top of that, bro, you look into these stats. I just wanted to bring this to you. So I'll stumble in, the YouTube wormhole that you go down and can't get out, regret going into it. But I saw Rio Ferdinand and Flex were talking, and Flex basically said that this isn't like a Hojlund one because, where he had 9 goals at Atalanta. It's, it's a bit different to that one, and we can feel a bit better about it. Why? Why would you feel better about this one? He's got 13 in the Bundesliga. If in any case, it's very similar.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could be taking positives from that. I'd say that's eerily similar and just reminiscent of Man United making the same mistakes over and over again.
Especially in that league, because that league has served up some serious dross. We're talking the slump. Timo Werner could not run in a straight line with the ball. This isn't like, he's come and flopped a little bit, like you could say Mkhitaryan or Kagawa, although they had reasonable Prem careers. Yeah. This is like, they've come from the Bundesliga. Timo Werner could not play football for Chelsea. And he scored 28 league goals. So Havertz has not really lived up to it, although he's been okay. I will give Havertz that. He's in the okay category. But another 65 mil. You would never go back and do that deal. I mean, unbelievably, Arsenal went and did it after they saw him for Chelsea. But that's a separate conversation. And Sancho, the worst one of all time, because he is just a slow winger with no pace and power and got his cheap stats in that league. Look, if you can't get over 14 goals in that league, I'm terrified.
Yeah, and the thing is, Alex, if you look at them players that have gone for high fees in the past, your Nkunku, Sancho, Werner, Haller, Jovic, they actually did much better stats-wise.
Than Sesko.
And then than Benjamin Sesko. And then you're looking at this and you're thinking, you do just go back to what you just said. Hang on, if he can't even match the guys that have came and flopped stats when he was in the Bundesliga, what does that transition look like when he comes to the Premier League? And how rough is it for Man United?
I've no idea. I don't know what on earth we are doing. I mean, this is the thing. Like, I mean, what? Go and get Patrick Schick then, if we want to go and get someone from the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
What? Why? He played for Leverkusen. He got 21 goals last year. Schick. Oh, but he's 29, so he goes in the category of fucking on the scrap heap. We'd rather just lump it on somebody who might become good. Click the fingers at Carrington and he'll turn out good. It don't work like that. Look down the list of signings. You've gone and done 2 good ones. Stand your ground. Liverpool have shown you the model. Obviously, City were fantastic at it up until recently. United were fantastic. How many times was Fergie doing? Christian, just look at every successful team in your lifetime. You're a little bit younger than me. So if you went Fergie, mate, what was Fergie shopping like? Okay, yeah, he did go and get the odd European signing, but it was when they were like just either a punt, and I'm talking 12 mil Cristiano Ronaldo punt, or Van Nistelrooy, the best striker in Europe the season before, even in a weaker league.
Oh, mate, he loved Prem Proven.
Oh, mate, Carrick, Rio.
Yeah.
Even if you go like earlier in the 90s, Cantona, one of the biggest signings in United history. Fergie isn't doing that. Like, he ain't going to fucking Serie A and going, we'll leave Eric Cantona, we'll go and get some random from a mid-table from Bologna. We're not doing that. Fergie, mate, you've seen it. Obviously, you lived through the era of Fergie. Wayne Rooney, another one. Tevez, another one. It'd be funny, that 08 team, Christian, how many of them players that played in that game were either come through the academy, so you got Giggs, Scholes that jump out, and Wes Brown, who played that final. How many of the other players were from Europe? I bet it's probably only Vidic and Evra. that started that final, and Hargreaves. But Hargreaves was we knew Hargreaves really well through the England setup. But the rest of them, Rooney, Tevez, Carrick, Rio.
Exactly, mate. He's always gone down that route, and to be fair, it's not that complicated either. It's not like he was a genius. He was a genius in other aspects, but that aspect of the way he was going about his business was not genius. To me, it's common sense. It's you basically want the least amount of risk as possible, and the situation United find themselves in is quite dire. How they finished the season last year, so they're like, right, we really can't afford to go too risky here. And then it's like, we go and do this one, which is the ultimate risk and the ultimate repeat of what has put you in this mess to begin with. It really does baffle me. And I think Man United, this is why I was saying, you're in a transitional period. A bit like when Newcastle got that money. They knew where they were as a club. They knew where they wanted to go. They did an excellent job of mixing, look, we will spend a little bit on the odd one. Isak, we'll get some in like that. But we will also make them real smart signings as well. Your Dan Burn, Trippier, and them guys that will build, and they'll slowly build you up the table. They're not going to win your Champions League, but what they will do is they will take you from bottom half struggling to actually like, oh shit, they're actually playing against teams now. And they actually look like they can climb the table, get into a European position, whether it's Europa or whether it's Champions League. That's what they did an excellent job at. Now, what United are doing is they're trying to walk before they can run. And I don't mean that. I don't mean that in a way like they're going and spending it on a proven player. They're going spending it on a guy that isn't proven. So it's like you're spending big, but you're spending big on a potential. So it's like it's bad. All ends up. Do you know what I mean?
It's a European. I just thought of something as well. You make obviously some fantastic points there in sort of what we are trying to do as a club and what Newcastle have done really well. I just thought of something as well. I was talking about Fergie's signings and what he did over the years. And Fergie, he did struggle replacing Schmeichel. He went through some keepers, Fergie, all of them not from the Prem. He went for Bartes. He went for Tim Howard. It was that era where every fucking year it was like...
Carroll, was he one of them as well?
Roy Carroll, but he was a backup, Roy Carroll. He just got games because the first team keeper at the time was shy. What does he go and do? You know what? Fulham were taking Van der Sar off you. Yes, he's older, but I need someone I can hang my hat on for a few years. Comes in, win 3 Prems in a row, get to 2 Champions League finals in a row, win 1. Yeah. And I think Van der Sar was still around in the 2011 final against Barca. He was shit in it, admittedly, but I'm just saying, you got in that. Fergie was like, right, what am I doing? I'm trying to replace Schmeichel, trying to hit blackjack in French league and all these other European leagues. And I've got a veteran in the Premier League in Van der Sar who's going to cost me next to nothing because he's older. And we got, 5-6 years out of Van der Sar. And it just shows you that this club, even Fergie made mistakes. Every manager made mistakes. But it's how they came back from that and how they changed their outlook on the goalkeeping position was perfect for Fergie. Yes, Vidic and Evra were fantastic signings. I'm not saying like we never hit, obviously Cristiano, but it's like you said, the core of the team and the club. We're Man United. We take the best Prem talent. People laugh at Paris Saint-Germain and like Juventus used to do it when they were the top dog in Serie A, and they just Bayern Munich's the best example, isn't it? And to be fair, Wirtz is the first one that hasn't ended up there. But it's like Desiree Doué is doing well in Liga. PSG go and get him. Mbappe breaks through. We'll go and have him as well. And Man United used to do that. There was more, obviously, Arsenal were a good side at the time. Then you had Chelsea, then you had Liverpool, then you had City, now Liverpool again. But it was always like United were the dominant team. And like Rooney, there was no other club Rooney was going to. It didn't matter if he was Scouse or not. So, it's surprising that it felt like we turned the corner this summer.
Yeah, that's what I felt.
And we've completely U-turned. But let's finish with how could Sesko be a success at United? Because we've done the principle of the signing. Obviously,
Alex, just before we do, bro, I just wanted to ask you this question. So on that signing, and where it worries me just a little bit further, is obviously you've got this goalkeeping situation. I mean, we saw that the other night in pre-season. I'm sure you'll get into that on another occasion. United are in a pretty dire situation with them 2 goalies. So what does it look like? Like for me, I'd be if I was a United fan, I'd be looking at this like, right, you're going spending £70 million on a
Yeah.
striker. You have got players that can score now. You have strengthened. You have got Cunha, you have got Mbeumo, and you have got Ahmad as well. All good for a goal, plus Bruno.
Yeah.
Is punting £70 million a striker really the thing that you need now? Or would it make more sense if you go and make a statement signing? I mean, I know Donnarumma probably is unrealistic, but to be fair, if United have got this money to be throwing about, it could be worth a fucking bid. But not even if it's not as high calibre as Donnarumma. What about Martinez from Aston Villa, who I think would jump at the chance to leave and go to Man United? For me, I'm just like, how is this your priority?
I totally agree. I mean, Christian as well. You touched on the goalkeeper position, which is obviously a real issue at United. It's not like, we've got the only goalkeeper in the world that's worse than Onana, and he's the backup in Bayern there. He's awful. He's worse than Onana. Yeah. I hope Onana's fit for the first game. I'm not even taking the piss.
The fact you're saying that is just wild.
It is wild, but it's true. And you're right. It's not just the goalkeeper either, Christian. The midfield. We've had a reasonably successful pre-season tour. We've seen signs of what, obviously, Mbeumo's only played 45 minutes, which is frustrating because it was a good 45 minutes and Mbeumo did play well. But we didn't get enough of it. We have got another pre-season game on Saturday. I'm actually going to that. And obviously hoping to see Cunha and Mbeumo in those 2-10s again. Yeah. Now, the midfield, you're talking about spending the money elsewhere, Christian. The midfield's an issue, man. Ugarte's awful. He's absolute dross. He's just absolute shit. Like, people go, we signed Fred for 50 mil. We've done it again with Ugarte. Ugarte's not as good as Fred. I don't care.
Alex, he's not even in the same league. His awareness, how he's a midfielder is beyond me. His awareness is absolutely terrible. Yeah. He doesn't realise when he's got possession. It's like he doesn't realise there's any other players on the football pitch. Honestly, it blows my mind.
There's not being press resistant, and there's Ugarte. What even is he? I mean, and the thing is as well, he's a trigger point for the press, even in pre-season. Even David Moyes was like, yeah, it's pre-season, let's get our fitness in. If he gets it, you press him immediately, he'll turn it over. And then who've we got next to him? Bruno Fernandes looks like he's going to have to play there. If Benjamin Sesko comes in, fuck me. Fernandes has to play in centre mid.
Yeah.
He was at it on Sunday. If anybody watched the pre-season game, shout out United fans. Hit me up in the comments. Where have you seen that performance before? Because it weren't that long ago, and it was in a much bigger game than pre-season against Everton. It was against Tottenham in the Europa League final. And he showcased his talents again. Wasting the ball, turning it over, not tracking back properly, trying to hack people for their goal, their second one. What does he do? Loses it in a dangerous area, can't get back because he's not got the legs, tries to foul him, Everton go and score, via a lucky own goal. It wasn't just that, it's rocketing it everywhere. Bruno Fernandes, he's not a Scholes, he's not a Kroos, he's not a Gerrard. He cannot drop in and play centre mid. This is not a hot take. He is a reckless, risk-taking number 10 who has gotten stats from playing that way. Yes, he has stretches where it comes together and he hits more good passes than bad. However, he's not a centre mid. He's not an 8. He's definitely not a 6. And we're playing him in a 2 here. It's not like we're doing him in like a left centre mid with 2 other midfielders. This is a legit 2, Christian. This is like 4-4-2. This is like, would you play Bruno Fernandes with Roy Keane in there? I tell you what, even Keane he'd end up punching it by the end of the game. Wasting the ball. Giving up possession constantly. I don't know how Amorim doesn't see it with Fernandes. Look, I don't mind Fernandes as a 10. I even there he takes maybe a bit too many risks, but it's up that end of the pitch. What are we doing? I'm rejecting 100 million for this. So what I'm saying with this 100 million rejection from Al Hilal, right? What the club has basically told me is, because they're going to go and get Sesko, Christine, like you said. This is going to happen. Your front 3 now is picked. That is the front 3 now, so Fernandes has to play in centre mid. So are you telling me that Bruno Fernandes is worth 100 mil as a centre midfielder? That's what you've basically told me. Because if you play reverse psychology to 6 weeks ago when Al Hilal said there's 100 million for Fernandes, the club knew they were going to go and get these 3 players then. Whether they started negotiations or not, they knew the money they had. They were going to go for Cunha and Mbeumo and a number 9, and it looks like that's now Sesko. So,
can I just ask you a question on this, Alex? So, obviously, Amorim, I think this puts him in the firing line with this situation. You had that bid, and he goes, no, he's my guy. Yeah. Right, but surely if he's your guy, you know you're not playing him in a position that really favours Bruno at all, or shows off his best. Because I mean, usually as a player gets older, you don't start putting him into a position that's more demanding, which that position is more demanding, and even more so when he's next to Ugarte, because he's going to have to make up for him. Bruno needs someone next to him, like you said. He needs a Roy Keane. If Keane could have put up with him, or a Rodri, someone that is that good, they will let him do whatever the fuck he wants. He's got someone, and Bruno needs to be the guy that does it, because Ugarte shit. That's where I'm looking at Amorim on this, and I'm thinking, you had the golden goose of an opportunity. Yeah. They came in, and they offered that big money. You should have gone to Bruno and said, look, thank you for everything you have done. Yeah. You have been amazing for this club, what you've done in a real torrid time. But what's best now is that we're going to go in a different direction. He had a golden opportunity. He doubled down and said he wanted him. So for me, Alex, if you're getting overrun next year in midfield with Bruno and Ugarte, I tell you what, look no further than Amorim.
100% agree with you on that. And I think this is the strategy, this seems to me, is replace the front three and fall on something in centre mid. Look, I think Kobbie Mainoo, I think he looks really good. I think physically, he looks like he's put a lot of work in the gym. He looks leaner. Obviously, technically great. We know how technically good Kobbie Mainoo is. We've seen it for England and Man United. However, the fitness weren't there last year. I think we can all see that. Players were running off him. That Southampton game was not a great look. Obviously, I'm not saying he's not trying. I don't know what happened. Obviously, a bit of a Euros hangover, an injury early on. He never got his legs. Kobbie Mainoo looks fit. I think they've got onto him. Amorim's got onto him. Look, we're playing too many midfield, mate. You need to be the absolute peak fitness you can be to play in my midfield. But then at the same time, you go in, we don't want 100 mil for Bruno Fernandes, who's never a centre mid and never will be a centre mid, and certainly not in a 2, Christian. If you're playing Bruno Fernandes in a 2, you are getting over. I mean, look, what are we doing? And Casemiro, we still got Casemiro. Okay, year left, he's going to be gone next year. Casemiro, Ugarte, Bruno Fernandes, one of them has to play in centre mid every game. Maybe 2 of them, because we don't know if he fully fancies Kobbie in there either. So what's the 2? Because it's not. We saw it last year. What are you going to say to me? Like, this is the thing where it's like we want him to improve players. He could improve Mainoo like a little bit and get him used to the 3-4-3. You're not going to get Casemiro, Ugarte, and Bruno look anything different to last year.
I fully agree, right. And I think the Mainoo one is worrying if I was a Man United fan, because when he came through and he was amazing in that cup final that whole year, and then obviously went to the Euros, showcased how good he was. Now he is not like, it's not like he's lost his ability. He's a top player. He's going to be a top player.
Yeah.
I don't know why Amorim is like, it just seems he doesn't fancy him. I'd be concerned on that. And then the fact he's doubling down, he wants Bruno in that position. It's like, I don't know longevity-wise what his plan is. I mean,
Christian, he's thinking,
Mainoo? Has Mainoo got a start in this team? I don't think Mainoo starts for you next season, Alex. I don't think game 1 Mainoo is next to Bruno in midfield. Not a chance, because I don't think he trusts him. Which is a joke, because obviously that's saying he trusts Ugarte more. Which I think to most Man United fans and anyone else around the globe, that's madness. But
we're completely hamstrung by it, because if Bruno Fernandes is playing 90 minutes every game, we've not even got European football. So if Bruno Fernandes is playing every single game and the front three is not up there, then that means Mainoo cannot play with Bruno Fernandes. Yeah. But really, none of them can play with Bruno Fernandes. Casemiro's too slow and too old. You'll have 2 30-year-old plus players in there. Neither are athletic or very good at getting around the pitch. Ugarte can get around the pitch, but he's awful on the ball, and Bruno Fernandes is reckless. So you can't have 2 players who, one's high risk, one is high turnover, and Kobbie Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes just in your head doesn't sound good. But that is what I would do. I mean, if one of them, if Mainoo has to play, because he is fit, he looks sharp, he's the best on the ball. Yeah, Mainoo should be with. We'll look at it, Christian. What did Caicedo go for to Chelsea? 115 million. Bruno Fernandes, we could have sold him for 100 million. Are you telling me that Mainoo and Caicedo would not be a better partnership? I appreciate we can't get Caicedo now. I'm playing hypotheticals of what we could get for 100 million. Christian, I like to think Ruben Amorim could get 100 million and spend it and improve that midfield. If he can't, well, what's he doing as our coach, really? Or even our scouting team? They should be able to find a centre mid partner for Mainoo for 100 million. And we got offered that on a silver platter by Al Hilal. We rejected it. And I was like, right, maybe Bruno's going to play in some false 9 between Mbeumo and Cunha. That's clearly not happening because Sesko's coming in. So we're looking at a season. Mate, this is it. It's classic. It's classic United, this. We'll We'll sort the front three out, and we'll just hope to fall on something in centre mid. Mate, games are won and lost in centre mid.
Of course they are, yeah, and you're going to get overrun. I think that's the problem. Every game you're going to get overrun, unless Mainu comes in and he's like prime Kante. That's the only reason you're going to be able to cope. Because if he's anything other than that, Bruno is not going to help at all. If anything, he's going to, we know what he's like with these Hollywood passes. And he does give away possession a lot. So, imagine fucking Mainu, whoever it is next to him, is running around like bloody Kante, and he's spraying it, giving it away, and they're like, fuck me. You know what I mean? There's only so much you can do. I really don't know why Amorim's done. This is the biggest thing that's confused me with Amorim so far. I thought from the start, if he could get rid of Bruno, and it was like the most golden opportunity where he had that fans, yes, it would split the fan base a little bit, but I think there would be a bit of an acceptance going, right, it's a huge offer, he's aging, we have sort of ran him into the ground. Alex, you could be faced with next year, Bruno could be done. I mean, he has been ran into the ground, and he could just fall off.
He is done because he ain't got a position.
Yeah, well, yeah, true, yeah, exactly. And you're making him play one of the most demanding roles on the pitch.
In a 3-4-3, charging round like a lunatic. Yeah, it ain't going to happen. Just before we wrap up, Christian, a few things on Sesko. Look, there is a clip going around of his last 50 shots. I've not enjoyed watching them. I'm worried about them. It's different to Hojlund, really. Hojlund doesn't really shoot, doesn't really get chances. This guy does. What's with the long shooting?
He does like a punt, doesn't he? I noticed that when you sent me that video.
I told this guy can shoot from 30 yards because I've got news for you. He can't. He's doing that annoying shit where he's teeing off with the guy in front of him. I don't like that. Look, glass half full. Ruben Amorim worked wonders with Victor Gyökeres, who's just gone to Arsenal for a lot of money. A big number 9, obviously likes a target man because that look at who we're looking at. He's 6'5" for God's sake. Amorim is obviously semi on board with this, even if he did want Watkins. He's signing off on this deal of Sesko. So, look, hold-up player, can he get... I've not watched enough of him. When you're trying to analyse somebody's hold-up play and outside-the-box play, you need to watch 90 minutes because, if he holds it up once and lays it off, great. I need him to be doing it 5-6 times a game because if he can, I do really like Mbeumo and Cunha, and they will be in their best positions in those pockets of space where they do damage for Wolves and Brentford respectively. So I am thinking, look, okay, can Sesko be the best hold-up player in the league? Aggressive, good in the air, Christian, gets it on his chest, gets it down, holds people off, lays it off quickly. You've got Mbeumo and Ahmad out there. Like you said, you've got actually 2 of them out there. Obviously, Hojlund's a zero aerial threat. He really struggles in the air. He can't judge trajectory at all, and he doesn't score headers. Although he got one in pre-season. Shout out Rasmus, well done, lad. But yeah, so I'm thinking, look, is he going to bring a serious aerial threat? Which, in theory, yes. However, we don't have anybody that can cross. So similar to, we're going to do a little City ep in a minute and talk about 2 other people who can't cross and another striker who stands there who's good in the air. But look, that's my pitch to you, Christian. I know if there's anybody watching this, let me know what you think. Give us a really good pro Sesko argument. But look, we have got 2 good 10s there. Mbeumo's not really a 10, but you get me. He's going to be in those pockets. Yeah. We do need somebody to get a grip of it. We haven't got anybody that can get a grip of it. We can't go false 9. Bruno will be useless in that role. Hojlund's not got great hold-up play. Xerxes has occasions where he has that weird sticky futsal touch, but then he has 10 minutes where he's as bad as Hojlund. So if Sesko can bring that consistent hold-up play to Man United, then I think he will help. But are we going to win the league with him? I don't see it. Not next, obviously not next year.
No, I hear you, mate. I think what's key when you've got a guy that big, look, he is imposing, he is quick, he's powerful.
Can he use it? Can he use his...
This is it. It's how he can implement. I was just going to touch on what you said, Alex. So you said if he can be one of the best hold-up players in the league. Currently, he isn't. That is a weakness in his game. Never mind being one of the best in our league. He's not one of the best in his league. In fact, he's quite average at it. It's one of his weaknesses. His link-up play isn't great. Like you said, he tees off too often. Decision-making a bit off. So look, this is why to me, I want to try and do a bit of a positive spin for, some guys that'll be behind it, but it is difficult. I suppose the only one, look, he did overperform his XG. look, we don't know how it could work. We've seen stranger things happen, that things can come in and work. And look, it might do. Me and you we're not categorically saying we're right here.
No.
What we're saying is, if you look at data and you look at what Man United have done in the past, you would think they would learn from it and the penny would drop, and it just doesn't seem to. So that's why I totally get my brother's, obviously your frustration in this, and any other Man United fan that's looking at this and they're a bit fucking lost with the direction they're going in.
Look, if you watch the video, firstly, thank you for watching the video. Appreciate that. Hit us up in the comments what you think about this signing, and obviously the principle of this signing, where whether it's good or not, it just seems to blow my mind. And the U-turn from and look, there is an argument there's no good nines in the league, but I do think Liverpool have shown you that you can stand ground in the transfer market a little bit. And if yes, we need a number 9. Everybody knows that, but really, we don't need to fix everything this summer. And apparently, we're meant to be skint, so why would potentially risking this much money? But yeah, let us know in the comments what you guys think of. Obviously, you've got our opinion if you've sat through the full video. Thank you again, appreciate that. And if you like it, hit like, subscribe, and we'll catch them on the next one, Christian. Hopefully, it might be a Newcastle here we go for Benjamin Sesko video that we're doing, but somehow I don't think it's going to be. It's going to be.
Man, definitely.
It's going to be United. Okay, thank you for listening, everyone. I appreciate it. Catch us on the next one.